triangle, and you can do blind procedure like if you prick the apex of the shadow triangle and go towards the ipsilateral nipple, you will enter the internal jugular vein. The carotid artery is medial to the internal jugular vein, so if you go in a lateral direction towards the ipsilateral nipple, you will not puncture the carotid artery. And also you can use the palpatory method, palpate for the carotid artery and puncture medial to the carotid artery towards the ipsilateral nipple. This is there are three methods of approach: anterior approach, midline approach, and posterior approach. And this is the posterior approach. You can approach from the posterior part of the sternomastoid towards the you have to palpate the carotid pulse, and towards the medially you have to approach medially. So this is the shadow triangle I was telling. Between the two, the sternal and clavicular head and the clavicle, there is a triangle. In the triangle, the internal carotid artery, internal jugular vein lies. So you keep your tip of finger in the sternomastoid and thumb in the carotid pulsation, and go medially in the shadow triangle, the apex of the shadow triangle towards the ipsilateral nipple. Okay, so internal jugular vein can be approached in three methods: anterior route, central route, and posterior route. This is the anterior route by palpatory method. The central route in the blind method in the apex of the shadow triangle. This is the posterior route. It is a very difficult approach, the posterior route. And now this was three routes I shown. This is the positioning I told: head towards 30 degree towards left side, and extended, the head extended at 30 degree. And 30 degree. Okay, this is the correct position of internal jugular vein cannulation. Now we can start the procedure. Open the things and keep it open, and identify the guide wire and the dilator, introducer needle, and blades, etc. The guide wire will be in a plastic sheath. Guide wire will be in a plastic sheath, and this is the all the things open, and then you have to keep the guide wire in the tip of the plastic sheet. Keep the guide wire in the tip of the plastic sheet, and give local anesthesia, and flush the catheter. Flush the catheter with the saline, and then identify the triangle and prick in the apex of the triangle towards the ipsilateral nipple, and look for back flush. If you are not getting back flush, withdraw the needle and see if it is coming. Sometimes it may go through and through the internal jugular vein, and if you withdraw it, the vein will be the needle will be inside the vein. And insert the guide wire through the introducer needle. Remove the introducer needle, and then use the dilator to dilate the tract. You have to give a nick in the skin to get the tract, and then railroad the catheter through the guide wire, and then see for the black flush in the three lumens, and then suture the catheter to the skin. So that is about the internal jugular vein catheterization. Sometimes we have to see that where is the position of the internal jugular vein in relation to the carotid. So most of the time, 70% of the case, the internal jugular vein will be lateral to the carotid artery. So 70 to 80% it will be lateral. Sometimes in 14% it can be in front of the carotid artery. In that condition, it is dangerous that if you go through and through, it may pierce the carotid artery. So identify the position of the vein before by ultrasound before you are starting the procedure. Okay, now coming to the subclavian vein axis, it is also the Seldinger technique is used. Here also the positioning is very important. It is the most common blind procedure, cannulation, because we cannot palpate the subclavian artery. So blindly, most of the time it is a blind procedure. Or you can use ultrasound also. The child is placed in a translumbral position with a towel underneath the shoulder blade, so that there is extension of the shoulder joint and hyperextension of the shoulder joint, and you have to puncture in the junction between middle third and medial third. So I will show you. This is anatomy of the subclavian vein in front of the subclavian artery, and this is the position, translumbral position with the head down, and the towel in the shoulder blade, and the extension of the shoulder joint, and external rotation of the humeral humerus, and the child should be wrapped to not to change this position, transcendental position, head down, and one finger should be kept in the sternal notch, and the thumb should be kept in the middle third and middle and medial one third of the clavicle. So this is the interfinger in the sternal notch, and the thumb in the junction between middle third and medial one third, and the subclavian vein will be lying directly down to your thumb, and go prick 1 centimeter below the thumb toward, and go in a direction towards your index finger and a 30-degree angle. So this is a procedure. Just prick and the guide wire is inserted, and the dilator is introduced, and then after dilating the track, the catheter is railroad, and it is sutured to the skin. So it is in place. That is subclavian vein cannulation. You can use ultrasound for subclavian vein cannulation. The hockey stick probe is preferred in newborn. You can use the supraclavicular or infraclavicular view. Also, you can use the transclavicular view. In newborn, because the problem is that the clavicle will form a shadow in the ultrasound, so it will be difficult to visualize the vein below the clavicle. So supraclavicular or infraclavicular view is preferred in older children. But in case of newborn, the clavicle is very small, it may not produce the shadow. You can use a transclavicular longitudinal view. So we will usually prefer supraclavicular, transclavicular, longitudinal view. So this is the hockey stick probe, this is the clavicle, the clavicular shadow is coming, this is the subclavian, the interjugular vein, and this is the axillary vein. So above the clavicle is supraclavicular, below the clavicle is infraclavicular view. So this is a supraclavicular view of interjugular of subclavian vein. You can see the subclavian vein and also this interjugular vein in the supraclavicular view. Usually, so this is the preferred positioning of the ultrasound when you are cannulating the subclavian. You should be able to see the ultrasound monitor with the lift of your eyeball. So both the ultrasound probe and the monitor should be visualized in a one plane for you to do the procedure in an easy way. So supraclavicular, infraclavicular, and there is a transpectoral also. Transpectoral is for very older children. So this is a transpectoral for older children. It is ideally it is an infraclavicular view in a distal end. So first you have to see the cross section of the axillary. You will see the axillary vein in the transpectoral. First you have to see the cross section of the axillary vein. Then you turn the probe to get a longitudinal view, and then prick and see the vein and going inside the axillary. So it is preferred in older children in transpectoral. This is the supraclavicular view. Supraclavicular view. In supraclavicular view, the thing is that you can visualize the brachiocephalic vein. The supraclavicular view is good for brachiocephalic vein cannulation. The important thing about brachiocephalic vein is that it will be distended even in a child with shock. Also in a newborn baby, it is the largest vein. So it is very easy to cannulate the brachiocephalic vein. So supraclavicular view is good to visualize the brachiocephalic vein, and you can approach the brachiocephalic vein in a supraclavicular way. So you can see the diameter of the brachiocephalic vein comparing to the subclavian vein. It is a large vein and easy to access also in newborn baby. So brachiocephalic, subclavian, and this is the clavicular shadow, and this is also one view, the subclavian, left brachiocephalic vein, subclavian. So in infraclavicular, this is an infraclavicular view. Infraclavicular view, you can see the whole anatomy of the subclavian vein forming the brachiocephalic vein and the left brachiocephalic vein and joining to the interjugular vein. So the whole anatomy can be seen in an infraclavicular view. So brachiocephalic vein is visible by supraclavicular view, subclavian vein by infraclavicular view, and axillary vein by infraclavicular transpectoral view. And these are the three approaches. supraclavicular approach to the brachiocephalic vein, infraclavicular approach to subclavian vein, transpectoral approach to the axillary vein. And okay, so how to use the ultrasound probe? First, you identify the internal jugular vein by keeping the probe in the upper part of the neck, and then trace the internal jugular vein downwards to till you see this is internal jugular vein. When you keep the probe up in the supraclavicular in the neck, and if you trace the internal jugular vein downwards, and you can see the internal jugular vein joining the brachiocephalic vein. So when it reaches the supraclavicular area, you will see the brachiocephalic vein. And if you go downwards, you can in the infraclavicular view, you can see the subclavian as well as. So this is the supraclavicular view on a 1-year-old child. You can see the brachiocephalic vein going to the coming above. In children, the brachiocephalic vein comes above the clavicle. And this is the transpectoral view, which is very commonly used in newborn babies. In transpectoral view, you go your ultrasound probe will be crossing the clavicle. So it is very good to see the brachiocephalic as well as clavicle, because the ultrasound the clavicle will not produce much shadow. So the vein will be very much visible if in newborn baby if you use the transclavicular view. So you can see transclavicular view in an infant. You can see this is the brachiocephalic, this is the subclavian vein, and the needle this is needle is approaching in the supraclavicular above the clavicle, and it is coming. The needle is now inside the subclavian and into the brachiocephalic. So this is a 800-gram baby. This is an 800-gram baby being cannulated with a supraclavicular transclavicular view in a supraclavicular approach. So this is the transclavicular view, brachiocephalic subclavian, and the vein is entering the subclavian in the above the clavicle, and now the finder needle is inside the subclavian as well as brachiocephalic vein. Okay, this is supraclavicular in older children, and cannulating the subclavian vein. The vein, this is the supraclavicular view, and there is a clavicular shadow, and the vein, this is the clavicular shadow. The needle is entering the subclavian. This is, you can see the clavicular shadow obscuring the subclavian, but you can see the part of the needle in the subclavian. This is a transpectoral for the axillary vein on an older children. So now coming to the femoral vein axis. Femoral is the next common central vein axis. Here also the positioning of the leg is very important. Leg should be restrained in a hip abducted and semi-externally rotated. The pelvis is extended by placing a towel behind the hip. You can go in a palpatory method. You can blind approach. You can palpate the internal the femoral artery just below the inguinal ligament, and then prick medially to medial to the pulse, and the direction should you should enter in a 45-degree angle and should be directed towards the umbilicus. So you can also use the ultrasound probe. This is the probe position, externally rotated and extended hip, and it should be restrained. And you can use the probe as in a ultrasound probe. You can visualize the femoral vein, and greater saphenous vein is identified. This is the hockey probe used in newborn baby to visualize the vein. And you can identify the vein by using the Doppler and also the compressibility method, as I have described earlier. And then prick in the central part of the probe and directed towards the umbilicus, and you can visualize the needle inside the vein. Now coming to the PICC line. PICC line is one of the most common venous access in newborn in NICU for a long nutrition. It is very easy for PICC line in newborn, because you need to cannulate the vein, the major vein. You need to just thread in the PICC line, and you need to plaster with the vein in with the cannula in situ. So it is a very easy procedure. You can use Primicath, Epicath, and litter flux. Primicath and epicath is cannulated used like this. Just cannulate, thread in and pass the needle. But in case of old children, it is difficult because it is very difficult to get the larger needle, larger vein. So you have to use the ultrasound under a general anesthesia in older children. So in older children, use ultrasound to visualize the major larger peripheral vein like a cubital vein, the basilic vein or cephalic vein or basic vein. Cubital, basilic or cephalic veins are preferred, and usually 1 French is preferred in a newborn baby. There are double lumen and single lumen catheters are available. If more than 5 kg, so less than 3 kg, use 3 French for PICC lines. Less than 1.5 kg, 1 French. More than 1.5 kg, 2 French. Up to 6 years, use 3 French. So 3 French is the basic PICC line used in pediatric up to 6 years. 1 year to 6 years, 3 French. And if more than 6 years, you can go for 4 French. In older children, you can go for 5 French. Ultrasound is used to visualize the cubital vein, to identify the veins. And now coming to the PICC line insertion, open the PICC line set and identify the major vein. Usually we will cannulate the cubital vein or basilic vein or cephalic vein. These are the 3 veins we are cannulating. And turbojet PICC line sets are there. And flush the PICC line set with saline. And then I use the ultrasound probe to visualize the vein and see the vein. It is the cubital vein. This is the median nerve. This is artery. This is the femoral head. Then, as I have described, you have to probe in the center part of the ultrasound probe and go in a 45-degree direction and use the creep method and identify the vein. And then through the finder needle, you have to introduce the guide wire and remove the finder needle and guide wire in situ, and then use the dilator to dilate. And in this case, you have to keep the sheath there. So this is a sheath introduced to the guide wire, and it is a peelable sheath, and sheath is inside the guide wire, and this is a sheath introduced, and after through the sheath, you have to thread in the PICC line catheter, slowly thread in the PICC line, and you can remove the sheath by peeling off the sheath. Sheath can be removed by peeling off, and then you can suture the PICC line in situ. So now coming to the this is the PICC line in situ. Now coming to the litter flux in newborn. Litter flux is a catheter used. We are using Seldinger technique for PICC line insertion in newborn. And in this case, you have to measure the length using the sterile tape from the site of insertion to the inferior vena cava, and use sterile percussion, use the whole towel, and then identify the vein you are going to prick. In this case, it is a saphenous vein, and cannulate the saphenous vein and insert the guide wire, and then insert the remove the cannula and insert the sheath. Sheath is always kept in place for in PICC line insertion, and through the sheath you have to slowly thread in the PICC line through the sheath, and then identify the position to the inferior vena cava. You can also use ultrasound to identify the position, and then suture there. So these are the various method of venous access I have described. So in today's class, I have described the difficult venous access, the DeVos system to predict the difficult venous access, and the use of ultrasound in the venous access, and the various methods for accessing the central venous access as well as peripheral venous access as well as PICC. So always use this method. Use the ultrasound, vein viewers, etc. So that it will be a painless procedure for children to get IV access. So let our children have a painless hospital stay. So follow these methods, and we will discuss further topics later. Thank you.